The cargo hold stank of burnt metal and recycled air. I pressed my secondary limbs against the observation panel, watching the latest batch of salvage drift through the processing tubes. Standard haul. Derelict vessels, broken terraforming equipment, the usual debris from the outer colonies. Nothing worth the fuel we'd burned getting here. Vex? You seeing this? My partner Kroll's voice crackled through the comm, his mandibles clicking with what I'd learned to recognize as confusion. Seeing what? More junk? Sector 7. We got something weird. I pulled myself along the guide rails, my forearms finding handholds with practiced ease. Kroll stood at the scanner console, his carapace reflecting the amber warning lights that now pulsed across every surface. What am I looking at? He gestured with one claw at the bioscanner. That. The readings made no sense. Oxygen breather, carbon-based, bilateral symmetry. The computer kept cycling through known species databases, rejecting each match. Unknown species? I felt my throat sacs inflate with interest. That hasn't happened in 3 cycles. 5 cycles, Kroll corrected. And it gets better. Look at the origin signature. I leaned closer, my vision adjusting to read the faint data streams. My translation implant struggled with the alien script before finally rendering it into something comprehensible. Sol system. 3rd planet. Earth? I couldn't keep the skepticism from my voice. That's halfway across the mapped territories. What would an Earthborn be doing out here? Being salvage, apparently. We found her in cargo pod 47, sealed inside an emergency stasis tube that was running on its last dregs of power. The tube itself was military grade, definitely not civilian equipment. Blast scoring covered one side, and the internal monitors showed critical system failures across the board. She looked fragile, impossibly fragile. 2 arms, 2 legs, a mop of dark hair that floated around her face in the low gravity. Her skin was this weird peachy brown color that I'd only seen in database entries, and she was small, maybe half my height, and I'm not exactly large by Threxian standards. Is she alive? Kroll tapped the display with one claw. Vitals are stable. Barely. I checked the stasis readings again. She's been under for at least 30 planetary rotations, maybe more. So what do we do with her? Good question. Protocol said we should report any unknown biologicals to the Galactic Council. But protocol also involved a mountain of paperwork, inspections, and probable confiscation of our salvage license, while they investigated how we'd stumbled across a species most people thought was either extinct or mythological. Humans. I'd heard stories, of course. Everyone had. The species that had shown up at the edge of Council space, about 50 cycles back, made some noise, then vanished just as quickly. Rumors said they'd violated about 17 different treaties in their first year of contact. Other rumors said the Council had quarantined their entire system. Some said they'd destroyed themselves in some kind of planetary war. Nobody really knew the truth. We opened the tube, I decided. Kroll's antennae shot straight up. Are you insane? We don't know what diseases she might be carrying. What if humans are toxic? What if she's aggressive? She's unconscious in a failing stasis tube. How aggressive can she be? I moved to the control panel. Besides, we can't exactly leave her to die. That's 6 kinds of illegal, even out here. The tube hissed as the seals released, and pale vapor rolled across the deck plates. The human's eyes moved beneath her lids, rapid flickering that the medical scanner labeled as REM sleep. Whatever that meant. Her eyes opened. They were brown, dark brown, like the processed nutrient paste we got from the station commissary, but somehow more alive, more aware. They fixed on me with an intensity that made my protective membranes slide shut reflexively. She tried to sit up, failed, then tried again with more success. Her mouth moved, sounds emerging that my translator struggled to process before finally settling on standard council common. I said, keeping my voice modulated to non-threatening frequencies. "I'm Vex. This is Kroll. We found you drifting in Sector 7. She looked around the cargo hold, her face doing that thing mammalian species do where their features shift to express emotion. Fear? Confusion? Both? Sector 7. That's... She stopped, her eyes going distant. How long was I under? At least 30 rotations. Your tube's power cells were nearly depleted. 30 days! She laughed, and the sound was sharp, bitter. 30 days. They said the cavalry would be here in 10. They promised. Kroll edged closer, his scanner whirring. Who promised? What happened to you? Who are you people? She swung her legs over the edge of the tube, moving slowly, testing her balance. You're not human. Obviously. You're not Viridian either. I recognize Viridian physiology. Threxian? I supplied. We're independent salvagers. And you are? Tired. She rubbed her face with both hands. Confused. Probably in shock. Take your pick. Your name? Kroll pressed. What designation do you carry? She fixed him with a look that could have melted hull plating. My name is Maya Torres. Lieutenant Maya Torres, Earth Defense Corps, 3rd Battalion. Serial number 77492 Delta, and if you're going to scan me, at least buy me dinner first. I had no idea what that last part meant, but my translator tagged it as a threat display. Kroll backed up a step, his combat plates instinctively rising. Easy, I said, to both of them. Nobody's threatening anyone? Maya Torres, that's a human name? Yes? Last time I checked. She stood fully now, barely reaching my shoulder even though I was in a relaxed posture. What year is it? Galactic Standard Calendar. Cycle 47. Rotation 206. Her face did that shifting thing again, and I was getting better at reading it. This was pain. Deep pain. 2 years, she whispered. 2 years, 3 months, and change. They really did leave us to die. Who left you? I asked gently. Everyone. She turned away, her shoulders rigid. The Council, the Fleet, Earth Command, everyone. Kroll pulled me aside, speaking in rapid clicks that the human couldn't understand without a translator. This is bad. Whatever she's involved in, it's military, political. We should dump her at the nearest station and forget we ever saw her. He wasn't wrong, but something about the way she stood there, this tiny creature in a torn uniform, surrounded by the wreckage of whatever catastrophe had put her in that tube, made me hesitate. Let me check something. I moved to the main terminal and pulled up the salvage manifest. The pod we'd found her in had come from a larger debris field, one that our automated systems had flagged but not fully catalogued. I ran the scan deeper. 6 destroyed vessels. Military configuration. Human design, mixed with what looked like Viridian tech. And something else. Weapon signatures I didn't recognize, using energy patterns that made our scanners glitch and restart. Kroll, you need to see this. He joined me at the console, his breathing slits flaring as he took in the data. Those energy signatures. That's Krell technology. My blood went cold. The Krell didn't do business this far into Council space. They didn't do business with anyone anymore, not since the Council had banned them from civilized sectors for what they'd done to the Pelthian colonies. The Krell are extinct, I said, even though I knew I was lying to myself. The Krell are never extinct. Kroll's voice had gone flat, scared. They hide. They wait. They take what they want. I looked back at Maya Torres, who was examining her surroundings with the methodical attention of someone trained for combat. She moved to the wall panels, running her fingers along the seams. Checking for weapons, probably. Escape routes. Hey! I called out. Torres, what were you doing out here? She stopped, her hand resting on a supply crate. That's classified. You're on my ship. Nothing's classified here. Her eyes met mine again, and this time I saw calculation behind the exhaustion. Protection detail. We were escorting a Viridian science team back from the neutral zones. Someone didn't want them making it home. The Krell? Her expression told me everything. They hit us hard and fast, she continued, her voice taking on the monotone quality of someone reciting a report. 3 ships. Advanced weapons. Our shields couldn't hold. Captain ordered evacuation. I got 6 scientists into tubes before the hull breached. I don't know if anyone else made it. Just you, Kroll said quietly. We've scanned the entire debris field. You're the only life sign. She closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something had changed. The fear was still there, buried deep, but on top of it was something harder. Something that reminded me why humans had scared the Council enough to quarantine an entire system. Then, I need to get to Council space. Now. Whatever the Viridians discovered, the Krell wanted it buried. Which means it's important enough to kill for. We're salvagers, I protested. Not transport, not military. We barely have enough fuel to make it back to the nearest station. Then take me to the nearest station. I'll find my own way from there. Kroll pulled me aside again. No, absolutely not. We report this to the authorities, and we walk away. This is beyond us, Vex. Way beyond us. He was right. Of course he was right. But I kept thinking about those 6 scientists she'd tried to save. About how she'd been floating in that tube for 2 years, believing help was coming. About how the Council had apparently decided she wasn't worth retrieving. One question, I said, turning back to her. Why did they leave you? The Council. Earth. Why abandon the recovery effort? Her smile was razor thin. Because officially? The mission never happened. The Viridians never hired human protection. We were never in that sector. And when the Krell attacked, it was easier to pretend we'd never existed than admit they'd failed to stop it. Political, Kroll muttered. I told you. So, if I take you to Council space, I said slowly, and you report what happened, what you know, you're basically declaring that someone very powerful is a liar. Multiple someones, actually. And those someones will be very unhappy with whoever helped you get there. Probably. I looked at Kroll. He looked back at me. His antennae drooped in the Threxian equivalent of a resigned sigh. We're going to regret this, he said. Definitely. I turned to Maya Torres, this impossible human who'd somehow survived the unsurvivable. Too many eyes, too many questions. We know a place. Independent Station, off the main routes. You can make contacts there. Find transport. Why? She asked. Why help me? Good question. I wished I had a good answer. Because 2 years ago, someone promised you help that never came, I said finally. And I'm tired of watching people get abandoned when things get complicated. Something shifted in her expression. Not quite a smile, not quite trust, but maybe the beginning of it. Thank you. Don't thank us yet. Kroll was already pulling up navigation charts. Station perimeter is 3 cycles away. Through some very questionable space, we might not make it. Story of my life, Maya said. I input the coordinates into the nav computer, watching the route calculate. Kroll was right. Questionable was putting it mildly. We'd be skirting pirate territories, passing through at least 2 disputed zones, and burning fuel we couldn't afford to replace. The computer beeped. Route confirmed. Strap in, I told Maya. This is going to be rough. She moved to the crash seat Kroll indicated, her movement still a bit slow from the stasis. One more thing. That debris field. Did you scan it for the science team's data cores? We didn't get that far before finding you. Go back, she said urgently. Before we leave, we need those cores. Are you insane? Kroll's plates clattered. The Krell could still be in the area. Going back is suicide. Those cores contain whatever the Viridians found. Whatever was worth killing an entire escort team for? Her eyes were hard now, focused. If we show up with just my word, I'm a conspiracy theorist. A traumatized soldier making accusations. But with proof? With data? That changes everything. I ran the calculations in my head. Extra time in a dangerous sector. Increased risk. Probable death. She's right, I said. Kroll made a sound like grinding gears. You've lost your mind. Maybe, but she's right. We need leverage. Insurance. Something to keep whoever wanted this buried from just making all of us disappear. Wonderful. Fantastic. I'm going to die in Sector 7, because you two have a death wish. But he was already plotting the return course, his claws flying over the navigation controls despite his protests. Maya Torres watched us both, and now I saw something new in her expression. Hope. Small and fragile, but there. For what it's worth, she said quietly, if we pull this off, I owe you both a debt that can't be repaid. Buy us new fuel cells, Kroll muttered. That'll be a start. We turned the copper wing around, our sensors sweeping the debris field for active threats. Nothing. Just wreckage and silence and the cold void of space. The science team's vessel had been called the Meridian Explorer, according to our database. A civilian research ship, lightly armed, definitely not equipped for combat. We found her main hull split in 3 sections, each one tumbling slowly through the dark. Data cores would be in the command section, Maya said, leaning over my shoulder to study the scans. She smelled strange. Not bad, just different, like copper and something else I couldn't identify. There, Kroll highlighted a signature. Environmental chamber, still intact. Minimal power, but the shielding held. That's where they'd back up critical research, Maya confirmed. Can you get a tether on it? Getting the tether attached took 20 minutes of careful maneuvering and some creative cursing from Kroll. But finally, we had it. A small storage unit, heavily encrypted, barely larger than my torso. Got it, I announced. Pulling it in now. That's when our proximity alarms started screaming. 3 contacts. Fast. Coming in from the outer system. No, 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 no! Kroll chanted, his plates rattling. Krell? I checked the signatures. Unknown, but they're using military-grade stealth tech, and they're heading straight for us. Maya was out of her seat, moving with sudden urgency. Do you have weapons? Shields? Anything? Salvage lasers, I said. And shields rated for micrometeorite impacts. Nothing that'll stop a real attack. Then run. Now. Forget the coordinates. Just run. I didn't argue. I slammed the acceleration to maximum, and the copper wing lurched forward, her aging engines protesting but delivering thrust. Behind us, the 3 contacts adjusted course, matching our speed. They weren't trying to intercept. They were hurting us. They're pushing us away from Council space, Kroll said, reading the vectors. Toward the border zones. Toward Krell territory. Maya corrected grimly. Can this ship fight? She asked. No? Can it outrun them? Also no. Then we need to be smarter. She moved to the tactical display, her fingers dancing across controls designed for species with different hand configurations. She adapted quickly. These ships, they're flying in formation, coordinated. That means a command vessel, somewhere, probably cloaked. How does that help us? Because command vessels are arrogant. They like to watch. They like to control. Her eyes scanned the sensor data. There. That dead zone in our scans. The place where space looks just a little too empty. She was right. A gap in the star field, perfectly circular, like something was bending light around itself. That's their commander, she said. I'd bet my life on it. You are betting your life on it, Kroll pointed out. Fair point. Vex, can you generate a focused EM pulse? Something that would disrupt cloaking fields? Maybe, if I reroute power from literally everything else, including life support. And aim it at those coordinates. On my mark. I started the power transfer, watching our shield strength plummet, our weapons go offline, even our running lights flickering out. The copper wing went dark except for emergency lighting. The 3 pursuit ships closed in, sensing weakness. Now, Maya said calmly. I triggered the pulse. Space lit up like a dying star, and suddenly, there it was. A ship 3 times our size, all angles and aggression, its cloaking field collapsing in a cascade of distorted light. And in that moment of revelation, of exposure, I saw something that made my blood freeze. The ship wasn't Krell. It was Council military. Human design, but carrying Council identification codes. Oh, Maya said softly, that's so much worse than I thought. The pursuing ships opened fire. The first blast hit our starboard shield, and what little protection we had evaporated like spit on a hot plate. Evasive, I screamed, throwing the copper wing into a spiral that made my inner ear sac scream in protest. Kroll was already firing our pathetic salvage lasers, not to damage, but to create debris clouds, anything to obscure their targeting. Council ships? Council ships are hunting us? What did you people do? Survived, Maya said, her voice ice cold. She'd strapped herself into the gunnery station, her small fingers flying across controls. Vex, give me manual override on the cargo bay doors. What? Why? Trust me. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Now! I slapped the override. The cargo bay doors blew open, and everything not secured went tumbling into space. Scrap metal, salvaged components, broken machinery. 30 tons of junk created an instant debris field that scattered across our wake. The pursuing ships couldn't stop in time. 2 of them plowed straight through, their shields lighting up as they deflected chunks of twisted metal. The third pulled up hard, losing its firing solution. Brilliant, Kroll breathed. Not brilliant. Desperate. Maya was scanning frequencies now, searching for something. They're using encrypted council channels, but the encryption is old. 3-generation-old protocols. Meaning what? Meaning whoever's flying that command ship doesn't want current council military knowing what they're doing? They're using outdated codes to stay off official channels. Her face was grim. This isn't sanctioned. This is black ops. Probably the same people who left us to die 2 years ago. Another volley screamed past our hull, close enough that I could hear the metal groan. Can you decrypt their communications? I asked, pushing the engines past their safety limits. Already done. She routed the audio through our speakers. A voice crackled across the bridge. Cold. Professional. Human. Targets are attempting to flee. Disable their engines but keep the hull intact. We need that data core recovered. Another voice responded. What about survivors? A pause. Then, no survivors. Make it look like a salvage accident. Pirates, maybe. Something messy. They're going to kill us and blame it on criminals. Standard procedure for covering up embarrassing mistakes, Maya said bitterly. I should know. I was supposed to be one of those mistakes. The command ship was moving now, its cloaking field regenerating, in patches, hunting us properly. We can't outrun them, I said, checking our fuel reserves. And we definitely can't fight them. Options? The Kepler belt, Kroll said suddenly. It's close, 2 minutes at full burn. I knew what he was thinking. The Kepler belt was an asteroid field, so dense and unstable that most ships avoided it entirely. Navigation was nearly impossible. Collision risks were astronomical. And the whole mess was charged with exotic radiation that played havoc with sensors. It was also our only chance. Do it, Maya said, before I could ask. I angled us toward the belt, and the pursuing ships followed like predators scenting blood. Behind them, the command vessel hung back, coordinating the kill. The first asteroids appeared on our screens, tumbling chunks of rock and ice the size of buildings. I wove between them, relying more on instinct than instruments, as the radiation started corrupting our sensor data. "They're still following," Kroll reported. "Matching our course?" "Of course they are." Maya had pulled up a schematic of the belt on her screen. "They're better armed, better shielded. They think they have the advantage. They do have the advantage. Not for long." She pointed to a cluster of asteroids ahead, rotating around each other in a complex gravitational dance. "See that formation? The three large ones in a triangle pattern? I saw them. Impossible to miss. Thread through the center," she said. "Full speed. Don't slow down no matter what. That's a death trap. The gravitational shear alone will tear us apart. Not if you time it right. Trust me. I've run simulations on formations like this. Simulations are not reality." A blast scorched our port side, and alarms shrieked as hull plating buckled. "Fine. Simulations it is." I aimed us straight at the asteroid formation, pushing the throttle to maximum. Kroll made a sound like prayers in his native dialect. We hit the gravitational field at full burn, and the copper wing bucked like a wounded animal. The asteroids loomed enormous, their surfaces scarred with ancient impacts. Space twisted around us, pulling in 3 directions at once. I could see the gap. Narrow. Impossibly narrow. The ship groaned. Metal screamed. My vision tunneled. And then we were through, shooting out the other side with our hull intact but our shields completely gone. Behind us, the first pursuit ship tried to follow. It didn't make it. The gravitational shear caught it sideways, and the ship crumpled like paper, torn between competing forces. It exploded in silence. A brief flare of light swallowed by the void. The second ship pulled up hard, its pilot smarter or more cautious. The third ship tried a different angle, swinging wide. "They're regrouping," Kroll said. "And we're out of tricks." Maya was staring at her screen, her expression intense. "No, we're not." She turned to me. "That data core we recovered, can you access it? It's encrypted. Viridian military encryption. Would take cycles to crack." "What if I told you I have the decryption keys?" I stared at her. "How?" "The science team leader, Dr. Amara Wells. She gave them to me right before the attack. Made me memorize a 64-character alphanumeric sequence. Said if anything happened, the data had to reach the council." Maya's hands were shaking slightly. I thought she was being paranoid. "Paranoia is just pattern recognition," Kroll muttered. "Give me the sequence." Maya rattled off the code from memory, and Kroll fed it into the decryption system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, files started flooding across our screens. Research data. Thousands of files. Geological surveys, energy readings, spatial analyses, and buried in the middle, a series of images that made my blood run cold. A planet. Uncharted. Hidden in a nebula that scrambled most sensor scans. And on that planet, structures, cities, technology. Krell technology. But not old, not ancient ruins. Active, operational, thriving. "Sweet ancestors," Kroll whispered. "They're not extinct. They've been building, hiding, growing stronger." The files continued. Weapons research, fleet movements, strategic planning documents. The Krell weren't just alive, they were preparing for something. Something big, and the Viridian science team had found proof. "This is why they killed everyone," Maya said quietly. "The Council has been telling everyone the Krell threat was contained, neutralized. If this got out, if people knew there was an entire hidden Krell civilization preparing for war, panic," I finished, "economic collapse, political upheaval, the Council's credibility would be destroyed." So, they buried it. Her voice was hollow. Buried the evidence. Buried the witnesses. Buried us. Another blast rocked our ship, closer this time. The remaining pursuit ships had found their courage again, and they were closing in from 2 directions. The command ship hung back, but I could see weapons charging on our sensors. "We need to transmit this data," Maya said urgently. "Broadcast it on every frequency. Public channels, news networks, everything. Make it impossible to suppress. If we do that, we're signing our death warrants," Kroll pointed out. "The Council won't just want us dead. They'll erase us from history. They're already trying to kill us. At least this way it means something." I looked at the data streaming across my screens. At the proof of a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of galactic government. At evidence of a threat everyone thought was gone. At the choice between safety and truth. "Do it," I said. Kroll didn't argue this time. He just started compiling the transmission package, bundling files into a compressed burst designed to spread across every communication network in Council space. "Transmission ready," he announced. "Once I hit send, every ship, station, and relay within 20 light-years will receive this, and it'll cascade from there." "Do it," Maya repeated. He hit the button. The data burst left our ship at light speed, carrying with it the end of comfortable lies and the beginning of uncomfortable truths. The response was immediate. The command ship's weapons fired, not a warning shot, but a kill shot, aimed straight at our reactor core. Time slowed. I saw the energy beam crossing space toward us, saw our shields at 0, saw Kroll's mandibles spread in what might have been acceptance or defiance. Saw Maya Torres reach across and grab my arm, her small human hand surprisingly strong. Then, space folded. Actually folded, like reality was a piece of paper someone had creased down the middle. A massive vessel appeared between us and the attack, absorbing the blast on shields that didn't even flicker. The ship was easily 10 times the size of the command vessel, its hull marked with symbols I recognized. Earth Defense Corps. Human military. "Well," Maya breathed. "That's unexpected." The new arrival's communication systems blared across every frequency. A woman's voice, crisp and authoritative. "Attention, unidentified Council vessel. You are firing on protected assets. Stand down immediately or be destroyed." The command ship hesitated. The human warship didn't. It fired a single warning shot that vaporized an asteroid the size of a small moon. The command ship and its remaining escorts turned and ran, their stealth systems engaging as they fled into deep space. "Salvage vessel, Copper Wing," the woman's voice addressed us now. "This is Captain Jennifer Park of the EDS, Relentless. We've been monitoring transmissions from this sector." "That was quite the data dump you just broadcast." "Captain Park," Maya said, moving to our comm station. "This is Lieutenant Maya Torres. Serial number 77492 Delta. I'm alive. I have intelligence regarding the Krell situation, and I need immediate extraction." A pause. Then, "Torres? You're listed as Kaya. 2 years dead." "Reports of my death were greatly exaggerated." Another pause, longer this time. "Stand by for boarding procedures. And Torres? Welcome home." The next hour passed in a blur of medical scans, debriefings, and paperwork. The Relentless sent over a squad of Marines who were surprisingly gentle despite their intimidating armor. They secured the data core, took our statements, and generally treated us like we were made of glass. Captain Park herself came aboard, a tall woman with silver hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. She shook Maya's hand like she was greeting a ghost. 2 years, she said. "Command wrote you off. Said there was no point in recovery operations." "Command was covering up a massacre," Maya replied, "and trying to bury evidence of an active Krell threat." "Your transmission is causing quite the stir back home. Half the Council is screaming conspiracy, the other half is demanding investigations. It's beautiful chaos." Park smiled grimly. You did good, Lieutenant. Then she turned to me and Kroll. And you too, civilian salvagers, who just declared war on the most powerful government in known space. That's either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Stupid, Kroll said immediately. Definitely stupid. Brave, I corrected. We knew the risks. Park studied us both. The Council will come after you. You understand that? They'll make examples of you. Unless you're under Earth protection. We could use people with your skills. Salvage operations, intelligence gathering, working in areas where official military can't operate. She pulled out a datapad. I'm authorized to offer you provisional contracts. Good pay, better protection, and the satisfaction of knowing you're fighting the right fight. Kroll looked at me. I looked at him. Do we get dental? He asked. Park blinked. What? Dental coverage, medical, retirement benefits, standard labor protections. This is the military, not a vacation resort. Then, no deal. Kroll crossed his arms. We're independent contractors. We set our own terms. I nearly laughed. Leave it to Kroll to negotiate benefits while surrounded by armed Marines. But Park was smiling. Fine, we'll work something out. Humans appreciate people who know their worth. She extended her hand. Deal? I took it, her grip firm and warm. Deal. Maya watched this exchange with something like amusement. You two are going to fit right in. 3 days later, we were docked at an Earth military station, watching news feeds explode with the fallout from our transmission. The Council was in emergency session. Multiple officials had resigned. Investigation committees were forming. The Krell threat was no longer deniable. And somewhere out there, in the dark between stars, the Krell were watching and waiting. What do you think happens next? I asked Maya. We were in the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. War, probably. Or something like it. She didn't sound happy about it. But at least now we'll be ready, thanks to you. Thanks to us. I corrected. You're the one who insisted on going back for that data core. And you're the one who agreed to help a stranger, even when it made no sense. Kroll joined us, carrying 3 containers of something the humans called coffee. It smelled terrible, but Maya took hers gratefully. Probably going to die horribly. This is officially the worst salvage run ever. Or the best, I said. How is this the best? I gestured at the stars, at the massive human fleet assembling beyond the station, at the future spreading out before us like an uncharted map. Because for the first time in cycles, we're not just surviving. We're making a difference. We matter. Maya raised her coffee in a toast. To mattering. And to salvage crews dumb enough to save the galaxy. We clinked our containers together, and somewhere in the distance I could have sworn I heard the universe laughing at us. But maybe, just maybe, it was laughing with us instead.